This tape will illustrate one way in which a systems-oriented therapist might treat a family, one of whose members displays psychotic symptomatology. The tape is based on 2 consultations that Dr. Salvador Minuchin had with a family being treated by Margaret Meskill, one of his students.
Okay, so this is a 45, mid-40s couple in this tape. When they come in, they'll be a family. They have lots of symptoms. You know, they haven't had sex in 9 years. She keeps going into hospitals and coming out again, and he falls apart when she goes in and drinks. And parenting issues, they have a lot of trouble with their daughter.
What are her symptoms when she goes to the hospital?
I'm not around, but according to what the couple says, her symptoms are his.
Hers.
Hers. Well, this time she started slashing her arm. That seems like that isn't something she always does, but she hears voices and starts yelling at people and acts crazy.
But when she is with you,
yeah,
she looks crazy, she sounds crazy?
She sounded a little off sometimes, but no, she's very high functioning for a psychiatric client. You know, she doesn't present that way. No, she presents fine.
In making his first supervisory comments on the case, Dr. Minuchin responded to a segment of the taped session presented by the therapist in which Hector was angrily complaining to Angela about the negative effects her out-of-control behavior was having on him and Danielle.
For instance, this man had talked and he had done something nice there, saying, listen, your symptoms are not psychiatric, your symptoms are directed at me. He made the symptom very much interpersonal.
Dr. Minuchin likes Hector's interpersonal framing of Angela's psychotic symptoms because it is congruent with his own systemic view of the family. As a systems thinker, Dr. Minuchin sees the family members as inextricably interconnected with each other. He also sees their symptoms as interconnected. Because they are mesmerized by their symptoms, the family members do not see the connections. The task of therapy is to make the connections explicit. As family members explore their connections with each other, they become empowered to activate alternative, more satisfying patterns of connectedness. The activation of these new patterns expands family members' experience of themselves, which in turn diminishes their experience of being at the mercy of their symptoms.
So we're in a regrouping place, and I wondered what, maybe you want to start and say something about what your thoughts are about having Danielle join us and what you want to get done.
Well, I thought it was necessary for Danielle to participate in the family therapy because she's having such a hard time in school. At the moment, she's not in school. I don't know what to do with her now. I mean, in the past, Danielle and I used to butt heads all the time. We were constantly fighting to the point where the police had to come to the house.
That much?
That much fighting, but that stopped. Danielle and I are getting along much better. But I don't know what to do with her with school. I can't get her in school. She's having too much trouble in regular school. The main problem is that her mind races so much that she can't.
Your mother says your mind races. Where does it go?
Nowhere, I just can't concentrate.
The family's assertion of a focus on Danielle's school problems provided Dr. Minuchin with his first task of the session. He must find a way to connect Danielle's problems to the parents' symptoms. A passing reference made by Angela to her hospitalizations will provide Mnuchin with the opportunity to begin laying the foundations for the construction of such a connection.
So Danielle has gotten into the habit of not being in school, and that's why she has gotten so far behind.
And why is that? How did that happen? How is that Danielle did not go to school and you did not know?
Well, she would leave the house like she was going. She wasn't, and then she would come home at 3:30 like she was supposed to at the end of the day. Where she went during the day, I don't know. But
Well,
we had,
always
we,
home.
She was home because you were going to the day
oh yeah, I
hospital.
was going to a day hospital, so I was not home during the day, so. And if
She
there,
would go,
and if there were days that I did decide to stay home, she would leave, but, there was one time when I did catch her cutting. And I caught her cutting again in high school.
she would go to grandma's house also because she had the
Why
keys.
did you go to the hospital? You seem a very well put together lady.
Well, I feel very well put together now. I wasn't so put together before.
No?
No,
How so?
no. I've been in and out of hospitals since the age of 13, and in a couple of state institutions.
Why?
Well, as a child, I was put in by my family. I guess it became a habit.
You know, I am surprised you seem such a bright and steady lady.
Well, there are
so-
bright people in hospitals too. I've met a lot of bright
Sometimes,
people,
yeah.
you know. It's just certain times, certain things would happen to me.
Dr. Mnuchin will now invite family members to describe the events that lead up to Angela's hospitalizations. As you listen to the descriptions offered by the various family members, note the significant difference between Danielle's framing of the events and her parents' framing.
When your mom goes to the state hospitals, how does she look like to you?
I don't see her.
Eh?
I don't see her.
But before, I assume that when she goes to the hospital it's because she's not feeling good. Because as she looks now, I would guess that she went to the hospital. Is she different?
Sometimes.
How different is she? What does she look like when she is not feeling well?
I don't know, she just gets cranky.
She's what?
Cranky. Before she
Cranky?
goes to the hospital.
Yeah, but do people go to the hospital because they are cranky? My goodness, I had been
Well,
cranky.
she doesn't look sick before she goes.
Eh?
She doesn't look sick before she goes.
She doesn't look sick. So she looks what, just angry?
No, she just gets bitchy. Turns
Uh-huh.
into a bitch.
Yeah. She looks bitchy and she's short-tempered. Help me to understand,
know.
because you see, I am confused. I see your mother here. So, and she tells me some things that seem strange to me. But you see, I really don't know how you behave when you go, because if you come to me, I am a psychiatrist, and you're like that, and you said I want to go to hospital, I would say.
Well, not like this when I go into the
So you must be different there.
Yes.
Can you tell me, or can you both tell me in different ways what's happening when your wife?
Well,
Next
Angela, I usually know when she's going to go into hospital because usually there's a shortness of temper, her sleeping is off, she forgets, she's
The
irritable.
voices get, but I hear voices.
Yeah, she has voices, and normally she doesn't tell me this. If I say, you feeling okay, or your voices, and she said, no, I'm not. And then if she's really hearing them, she'll be very irritable, and she becomes very irritable and defensive. Then, okay, she's hearing voices, and then I start looking for the patterns.
Uh-huh.
And then that's when I should be
Does she look, when she acts like that, that she looks to you as if she is crazy, as if she's irrational, or as just she is short of temper and cranky?
Just looks like she's cranky.
See, do you have two mothers? One that is nice and understanding, and one that is bitchy and cranky and irrational. And you get mad with the irrational, cranky and bitchy. I'm asking because I don't know. You know, because maybe when your mother is cranky and bitchy, she is quite a pain. Is she a pain for you when she gets like that?
When she gets like that, it's like I already have it already. I already know. It's like so prone, like I know, well, she's acting this way because she's already going into an episode. So.
While her parents portray Angela's hospitalizations as brought on by phenomena that are crazy and beyond control, Danielle insists on explanations that are normalizing and interpersonal. Mnuchin's observation of this, as well as of Danielle's protective attitude toward her mother, leads him to the following reframe, which connects Danielle's school problems to her parents' problems.
Tell me something. So you had seen Mrs. Ayala when she gets paranoid schizophrenic or borderline psychotic or whatever term they call it.
Cranky. Yeah.
It's cranky. What?
I think it's a good word.
Yeah. And can she hear you when she's like that?
With a fight.
And-
with a
but
lot of
you're
work.
a good fighter.
Yes, we fight well.
Uh-huh. Do you think that Daniela sometimes, do you think that Daniela's fighting can be useful?
I think so.
Do you think that she knows that she was helpful to mother? See, children do sometimes wonderful things
Mm.
without knowing,
Mhm.
you know.
Danielle was one of the reasons why I started turning around and started trying to pull myself more together.
She seems very protective for you.
Yes.
Would you be a nurse?
A
Yes.
nurse?
Yeah. Do you think? Because I think you are a nurse. So I want to know if you will be a nurse. At this point, you have only one patient. That is your mom. Is she,
What do you mean by being a nurse?
well, I think she is a nurse. I think she grew up to be a nurse. And she starts training in you. And then maybe she will train on somebody else. Or do you sometimes are protective of your dad also?
Mm.
Yeah. So when do you feel protective toward him? When your mom,
When I think of how stupid he's been
how
sometimes.
stupid he is?
Yeah.
In what way?
Letting mommy do all that stuff she did right in front of him and just sitting there. I think that's stupid. I wouldn't have done that.
That means you think he should have
He
reacted.
needs to be harder with his reaction.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And do you think that you can help him to become stronger or harsher or more reactive? Had you talked with him about that?
I did when I used to scream and get mad now, and I would say he's such a jerk because he lets her do it. He stands right there and lets her.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I would yell at, but never did anything.
And is he a good patient or not?
Is he a good patient?
Yeah. Yeah, you see, I think that you are a budding psychotherapist, and I just, you will be a colleague, and I am interested in, you see, I work with her, I am a teacher of family therapist, you start early.
No.
No, okay. You know, it's very nice. Danielle is a very nice person and a very protective person, and she had a hell of a difficult life. Because she had a mom that was in and out of the hospital, and a dad that is mystical and did not respond. So she tried to help both of you. And if you are busy trying to make your mother a person and make your father a helper, then I don't think that you can have too much energy to study. You know, that's, you have a full-time job as a nurse.
In portraying Danielle as her parents' nurse, Dr. Mnuchin has succeeded in connecting Danielle's symptoms to her parents. There remains the task of connecting the parents' symptoms to each other. Mnuchin devotes the closing minutes of the session to the task.
I don't remember the
And
name.
besides being Mrs. Ayala, the hospital calls you with some label. What's the label that they gave you? Your name is Mrs. Ayala, but
The
what
label,
is,
the label, paranoid schizophrenic,
is that it?
something, some kind of behavioral borderline thing, I don't know.
Borderline?
Yes.
Paranoid- These are three different things? Paranoid schizophrenic, a borderline,
Something else,
and something else.
I don't know.
Or borderline psychotic or something like that. Once a guy said that to me, I looked at him, I said, you gotta.
But what would you say if you need to say, if you would need to describe your wife to me in 2-3 words, what would you say about her?
Well, also, I lost that.
If you would need to describe your wife, I had not seen her. You say, she seated here and I hear her talking to me.
Right.
She's a bright lady and she tells me things that don't make sense, right?
Yes,
That all her
totally.
life she has been in and out of hospital.
Mhm.
And so I am confused.
Mhm.
So can you tell me something about her so that I will be less confused? Describe to me how she is with you.
How she is with me
As a person,
as a person.
as
She's
a wife.
As a wife, she's attentive. She's sensitive. You know, she's a good listener. She's good to talk. She's intelligent. So it's not like you're talking to a moron. So that's a blessing. You know, she's organized. She thinks straight. She's, you know, I tend to be more like, you know, well, let's see. I tend to be like Margaret said, mystical. Well, let's look at it from this angle. Angela's more like, well, this is the way it is, and she's more
Miss
more
Ayala,
grounded.
if you would need to describe your husband to me, how would you describe? I am impressed with how many nice things your husband says about you. How would you describe him?
Loving, hardworking, sensitive.
Do you think he contributes sometimes to your going to the hospital?
Not really, no. It's mainly my
You hedged, eh?
Recently, it has been his drinking, but he's not drinking now.
One of the things that you probably can begin to look with his family is, see, this is a family of good people. But some of the things that they do are not good. But since it's a family of good people that believe in love and they believe in good things, they don't know how they trigger each other. They don't know clearly, because the most important thing for them is love and protection. So I think that Mrs. Ayala is sometimes triggered by her husband, and that Mr. Ayala is sometimes, you see, I think in strange ways. I think that you're drinking, it's not because you're a drunkard, but it has to do with stresses in the family. And I think that when you go to crack, or you go to heroin, or you go to the hospital, you're escaping from your husband. Now, I am a strange guy, I think like that, you know. I have strange ways of thinking.
Right.
So, if you want to be helpful and unstuck, you will need to work with these people in terms of what they do to each other, you know. And it will be difficult because they don't know. You see, Mr. Ayala will need to help you to know, and Daniela will help you, you know, when Mrs. Ayala does something that kicks him off and he does not respond. Daniela will know, but he will also know. And I think that this is a very nice family. I think it's a family that is in a tough spot because they are new. He is dry and she's out of the hospital. And see, I think that you don't know how to behave in the spot in which you are now, in which you had decided that you have a place in this family and that you will not run away from the family. And I don't think that you know how to relate with a wife as if she is healthy, so that when she becomes a pain in the ass,
That's part of the
you need to say,
realization. I know.
not you are sick, but you are a pain in the ass. You know, when you are a pain in the ass, he says, you're crazy.